Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. Today we're going to be doing a book haul. I know I have a lot of them, but what you gonna do? So the first book that I have here is How to Be a Heroine, or What I've Learned from Reading Too Much, and it's by Samantha Ellis, and this is a nonfiction talking about all of the great and famous historical literary women. And that's all I need to know going into it to get my interest. I'm very excited to read that. Then we have the Book of Joan. And this is by Linda Yoknevich. And this is a sci-fi dystopian-esque story which kind of plays with the idea of gender and identity. And it's got cults and different communities, and it's just going to be really, really interesting, and I'm very excited to dive into this. I've had this on pre-order for a while, and it didn't show up for the longest time, and now it's finally here, so I'm very happy to have that. Then I found this in my local used bookstore for $2.50, and this is Kate Hammer, The Doll's Funeral. I am not sure if this is an ARC or if it just somebody bought it and then didn't like it. I don't know. It's the author of The Girl in the Red Coat, which I haven't read yet, but I know I've been curious about. But this one is the one that really had my interest, and its back says, "My name is Ruby. I live with Barbara and Mick. They are not my real parents, but they tell me what to do and what to say. I'm supposed to say the bruises on my arms and the black eye come from rolling down the stairs." So I am very excited about this. I've heard it has fairy tale-esque elements, and it's darker and interesting, and I'm always down for that. From my also from my local bookstore at the used section, this is The Glimmer Palace, and it's by Beatrice Cullen. This is a World War II historical fiction compared to Sarah Waters. It takes place in the cabaret era. I am very, very curious about this. It has some interesting photography in it, which I'm not sure what the photography is from. If it has anything, like if it looks like it's all real historical photography, and it's just influenced what's going on in the book, so I'm very curious about that. Then I picked this short story collection up. I was browsing through my local bookshop, and I had a coupon for $10 off, and I found this. This is Wicked Wonders by Ellen Cleggs, and this, just hold on. A rebellious child identifies with Maleficent instead of Sleeping Beauty. Best friend Anna and Corey share the last morning on Earth. A solitary woman inherits a penny arcade that's haunted by a beautiful stranger. A prep school student requires more luck when playing dice than with fairies. Ladies who lunch dividing one last bite of dessert delve into a dimension of quantum politeness. A summer camp of young girls discover the heartbreak of forbidden love. Whether on a habitat on Mars or a boarding school in London, discover Ellen Clegg's wicked, wondrous adventures full of cheeky wit, empathy, and courage. I am excited about this, and I've heard no one talk about it, so I am very, very stoked to have found it. Have I marked this? Yes, I have. Then this short story collection I found, and I was very curious about it. This is The Dark and Other Love Stories by Deborah Willis. This, I'm very intrigued by this. I have just heard it kind of discussing all the different types of love and relationships and admiration that can be put into different stories and how that can be explored. I'm very curious about this. Then I have 3 nonfictions. One is this. This is The Blank Slate by Steven Pinker. This is Modern Denial of Human Nature. This is going to dive into gender, sex, the identity of a person, what makes people who they are, what is born into us, what is defined for us prior to our knowledge. I am extremely excited to read this and to see more of that kind of what are we born into and what do we design ourselves. Then after reading Girls Will Be Girls, I picked up 2 more books on gender. These are both by Cordelia Fine, and this is Delusions of Gender and Testosterone Rex. Both of these talk about gender identity, sex, and all of those other topics. I am extremely excited to read these. Girls Will Be Girls said that these are the books to read when you're curious about the science behind gender versus just the social interaction of gender. And then the rest of these books were all either free or sent to me by publishers. So the first 3 are all by Unnamed Press. First, we have Neon Green by Margaret Wappler. This is a story of a place where you can enter into a sweepstakes and be granted a spaceship to the back of your yard, and this family wins, and the father is very unhappy. He is an environmentalist, and he is now watching his house be polluted by this spaceship and all the gunk that it kind of dells out. Then we have Fingerprints of Previous Owners. This takes place in the Caribbean. This is the story of a Caribbean resort where the ancestors of slaves are still being used and abused as servants in this Caribbean resort, and the story takes place kind of flashing back and forth between the ancestors and the slaves from the previous time. I'm very curious about that. Then we have Jessie Chaffee, and this is Florence of Ecstasy, and this is the story of a young girl who is sick, and she ends up going to Florence, Italy, and her experience over there and trying to come to terms with her own illness. Very excited about that. Then I have 3 books from Black Lawrence Press. These are 2 poetry collections and an essay collection. We have Human Ghost Hybrid Project. This is by Carol Guess and Daniele Olsviska. And then we have Oracle by Danielle Pantono. And then we have Partisans by Joe Ostrich. So those 3 are going to be really interesting. They're all going to be very dark, and they're talking about privilege and violence and acts of war and evil and race, and I am very excited. And then these 2, my local bookshop, I asked them if they'd read any good ARCs lately, and they had these 2 that were duplicates of ARCs for them, and this is the new Jeff Eugenides. It's a short story collection, and it's called Fresh Complaint. So I'm going in blind to this one, and I'm going in blind to this one as well. This is Wonder Valley by Ivy Pochto. So yeah, I am very curious about both of these and very excited. So there you have it, folks. That is my book haul, and I will see you all in the next video.